Sometimes Unitarian Universalism is criticized for having such elevated vocabulary. And I am going to read you a social justice statement that's filled with elevated language, but I'm going to suggest that it just elevate your passion and that you see the simple truth in these words from the UU College for Social Justice. Yes, UU has a college for social justice. Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal theology of engagement. We draw inspiration and truth from experiencing each other and the world around us. In doing so, we necessarily witness both the beauty and brokenness of our world. And that's why we are here, because we have chosen to do social justice work in the context of religious community. Being religiously grounded is key to effectiveness because it helps frame issues from an authentic religious perspective, and it helps us speak and act from that perspective as well. We have a legacy of deeds, not creeds. Our justice efforts are grounded in our denomination's annually crafted social justice statements and our call to break down divisions, to heal isolation, and to honor the interconnectedness of life and all justice issues. We model these commitments by creating just, welcoming, and inclusive congregations, and we commit to act in partnership with groups and communities most impacted by injustice on local, state, national, and international levels. Public witness is one of the things that Unitarian Universalists are good at. We show up. Public witness is the spiritual practice of taking a public position in active support of justice. This courage, this effort, despite the busyness of our lives, is a defining feature of Unitarian Universalism. So take a breath. Drink in this aspect of your faith tradition. Open wide your hearts and empower your feet. Let us reason together for a better world. Social justice is our biggest committee here at UU Miami. Why? Well, in countless ways, we try to improve ourselves by reading, studying, discussing, but we are also drawn to action. To paraphrase Shakespeare, words without action never to heaven go. Today I reflect on what we have done this past year as a way to plant seeds for those of you who will form the Social Justice Committee in the coming year. Remember the changing hats? Social Justice meets the first Sunday of every month, and we table twice a month. What is tabling? Tabling is a way for what we call the right here, right now. And one of those rights is involved writing to our public officials. We give you a chance right here at on Sunday morning after church to contact your public officials via letter or email, and issues that our larger denomination has organized through the Right Here, Right Now campaign. The letters we write add with letters from all the other Unitarian Universalist congregations participating. So we give you a chance that if you don't contact a lot of public officials in your regular busy life, you can do it right here, easy, and our power is multiplied. Last year we wrote over 300 letters and made contact with 300 public officials, even during COVID. The mission of our UU Social Justice Committee here at UU Miami is this. We educate and act in ways to support the struggle for human decency and justice and to dismantle oppression. We pledge to join with and financially empower others in our community who work for compassionate policies that will lead to equity and safety for all. In the Social Justice Committee, somebody takes on the job of being aware, well, different people take on the jobs and reporting on different movements across the country. Some of those are national. Reverend William Barber has something called Moral Mondays in North Carolina that has expanded into a revitalization of the Poor People's Campaign from the late 1960s. That may be an interest of yours, and you take on the job of keeping up with Reverend Barber's work and seeing how our congregation can help that work. Another national effort is the UUA's, Unitarian Universalist Association's, Love Resists campaign. Their areas of conscience for this year, 2021, were voted on at the General Assembly, and they include these four. Undoing systemic white supremacy. Defend and advocate with transgender, non-binary, and intersex communities. The COVID-19 pandemic, justice, healing, and courage. And stop voter suppression and partner for voting rights and a multiracial democracy. So again, in our committee, somebody keeps up with the work on all four of those issues. Our Social Justice Committee also has a regional component called the Southeast Cluster. Southeast Cluster are the 14 congregations of Southeast Florida, including the Keys and Puerto Rico. Every year, at least one of their offerings is on social justice, and that seminar and workshop is then advertised by the member of the Social Justice Committee that keeps in contact with the Southeast Cluster. Again, all of these actions are very hard to do by yourself. They're best done together, and that's what a UU community is for. Every year we vote to support 4 local organizations. 2019 to 2020, we supported the UU People of Color and Indigenous group with money, Fem Power Miami Bond Fund, Dream Defenders, and the South Florida People of Color. And our work with the South Florida People of Color is going to be highlighted on August 29th. Dr. Tamika Hobbs from that organization will be our speaker here. For 20 to 21, the 4 organizations that we've been working with this past year are People Acting in Community Together, called PAC, for Reproductive Justice, Planned Parenthood, as you heard on the offertory today. For climate and voting rights, we are working with Florida Rising. And for immigration justice, FLIC, Florida Immigrant Coalition. For 3 months, we split the offertory plate with them, and we've been able to support their work in an ongoing way. Now, the only one I'm going to talk about here for a minute is PACT, because the name doesn't give away what work they do, but they basically work with the Miami-Dade Commission, so they're very local in their impact. This year they are working on 3 issues. They voted to support a gun violence intervention strategy that costs money to get trained and follow up in a certain intervention strategy that has proven effective in other communities with gun violence. For affordable housing, PACT is advocating that we use the Affordable Trust Fund in a different way, and that the City of Miami Affordable Housing Master Plan be pushed and implemented instead of more planning, implementation. PACT has also worked on something that affects immigrants more so than others, which is community IDs. People who are unable to get driver's licenses or state-issued IDs still need a way to be identified and receive something like COVID shots, and that has been the community IDs, and that has, all of these issues have been partially agreed to by our commission. I'm not going to say 100% we've won on all of them, but we did win 100% on community IDs. They are going to use the funding to implement that. Many of us participated in their Nehemiah action, which this year was in cars, so we could do it safely, but many public officials came and heard our issues. The speaker from PACT will be coming September 12th to a podium near you. By doing all this work, the community also invites us to many things. We were invited and attended and spoke at the Masjid al-Ansur Mosque for Juneteenth. The Say Their Names vigil was too much in the thick of COVID for us to attend, so we paid to feed their volunteers. Many of our members are also active in SURGE, showing up for racial justice and the fight for 15. We also formed a force on Zoom for the civilian oversight for the Miami-Dade Metro Police. Of course, other accomplishments are new flags inside and out. We decorated the campus for Veterans Day, Inauguration Week, and we ordered and displayed new posters for the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King weekend. Unitarian Universalist affirm unconditional, universal love as a foundation and grounding for our actions in the world. We strive to be of service to our communities and advocate for change on local, state, national, and international levels. UU Miami has a Side with Love campaign. It is now being used as an umbrella for all of the larger associations' social justice efforts. Their goal is to end the harm from religion-based prejudice and bigotry. Our Side with Love t-shirts will be here for our opening on August 22nd for everyone. Every year, to maintain our status as a welcoming congregation, we are asked to make the pledge and to have efforts to help LGBTQ+ people feel comfortable in our congregation. The activities we did this past year to be a welcoming congregation is, of course, we have a new flag on our double chancel situation here. Right before COVID hit, we had already started to mask up, but we went ahead with a community forum on how to eliminate new cases of HIV right here in Miami-Dade County. And Reverend Tom joined that coalition. We honored World AIDS Day here, December 1st. We participated in Transgender Awareness Week. And upcoming, we have already purchased a table for the Pride Festival on Miami Beach. I ask anybody interested to table on Saturday, September 18th, my husband's birthday, and to join us in the parade on Sunday, September 19th. Reverend Tom will be part of the interfaith service that morning on Miami Beach, and then afterwards he will be part of the contingent in the parade. I will be here for those of you at the congregation. I hope that inspires some of you to get your outfits ready. Now, the biggest thing the Social Justice Committee was able to do this year, well, two of our biggest things. During the Remain at Home period, we hosted 31 straight days of socially distanced honk and wave protests following the killing of George Floyd. This was at a major intersection in our county in the early morning during rush hour. Different congregations or people from different congregations came to join us. We met different neighbors, and many people stopped to thank us after they had seen us for maybe 7 or 8 days when they thought most people would give up. This is part of our healing process of a nation. And here's one way that the healing can continue. So I'll pretend I'm talking to Sue, who I see in the audience. Sue, can you and I get together to talk about our racial conditioning? John, can you and I get together to talk about our racial conditioning? These are ways that we can continue this work in conversations of a non-threatening nature, but to acknowledge we have all been racially conditioned. The second biggest thing we were able to do with our social justice work was to be very active with the national campaign of UU the Vote. We had long been a supporter and a partner with the New Florida Majority, but our national affiliation, UU the Vote, chose 3 projects across the nation to partner with to increase the vote. And New Florida Majority, our little hometown group, was chosen by our national, the national effort. And we were able to make over 70,000 phone calls to identified Black and brown Florida voters over a 5-month period. Many of us were there every call time, as laborious as it was. I used 3 devices. I called on my phone. I had my iPad with the Zoom of everybody else calling, and I read the script and got the phone numbers from the PC. So we amped up to get out the vote. Then Sam Hayden, a member of our Social Justice Committee, suggested that we host a national fundraiser for New Florida Majority. Musicians performed, and that was in October of 2020, and we raised money for New Florida Majority, which is now morphed into Florida Rising. I want to take this time to thank you virtually and in the audience today for whatever support you have given this important work. I also apologize for any miscommunication, for things I've let left out of our review of our social justice efforts this past year. I apologize for things that you didn't know were happening and you wish you had known about. And I'm sorry. I hope we can always improve on reaching out so that you and your families can do the spiritual work of advocating and fighting for justice. Before we do our last action, I'm just going to read you the shortened version of everything I just said. Service is our prayer. Love is tender and knows no gender. Choose love. Stop Islamophobia. Faith over fear. We are the ones we've been waiting for. God has no hands but ours. All of who you are is sacred. All of who you are is welcome. Black Lives Matter. Side with love. We love our neighbors. And now I invite you to stand. I'm first going to lead you in our children's hand motions, and then you'll stay standing for the song. We are Unitarian. Better stay here. We are Unitarian, Universalist, the faith of the open mind, the faith of the helping hands, the faith of the loving heart. Together we care for our earth and work for friendship and peace in our world.